Zahara Adeyemi, now just Zahara, found herself on the bustling streets of Lagos, the city's chaotic rhythm a stark contrast to the sterile silence of her former life. She hailed a taxi, providing an address she had memorized from one of Kunle's social media posts. The cab rumbled through the city, its windows reflecting a world she had only ever observed from behind tinted glass. For the first time, she was an anonymous face in a sea of millions, an exhilarating and terrifying realization. She traded the constricting wedding dress, a symbol of a past she was leaving behind, for the liberating comfort of a simple outfit. From a nearby stall, she arrived at a small, modest apartment building, its facade faded but charming. She paid the driver, her hand trembling slightly as she knocked on Kunle's door. He opened it, his expression a mix of surprise and confusion. He saw her simple attire, the absence of her grand wedding dress, and the silent desperation in her eyes. He stepped aside, a simple gesture of welcome that felt more profound than any grand pronouncement. Inside his apartment, the space was small but filled with a vibrant warmth. Canvases leaned against the walls, jars of paintbrushes overflowed, and the scent of turpentine was a comforting, honest aroma. Zahara's gaze moved from the cluttered space to Kunle's face, a question forming in her mind. He didn't ask why she had come or what had happened. He simply placed a mug of warm tea in her hands. The moment was a quiet sanctuary, a wordless acceptance that healed a wound she hadn't known was so deep. Over the next few days, Zahara stayed with Kunle. She discovered the simple joys of a life she had never known. She helped him prime canvases, learned to mix colors, and listened as he hummed while he worked. Her hands, once accustomed only to holding champagne flutes and designer handbags, now found a new purpose. She was no longer defined by her father's wealth or her status as the billionaire's daughter. She was just a Zahara, a woman learning to live. The silence was broken one morning by the ringing of Kunle's phone. He answered, his face going pale as he listened. He hung up and turned to Zahara, his expression grim. "The news is everywhere," he said, the first words they had exchanged about her past. "Your father ... he's in a fury. The media is calling it the wedding of the century that never happened. They're saying you've disgraced the family name." Zahara felt a pang of fear, but a quiet resolve quickly replaced it. She knew this was the price of her freedom. The next day, she accompanied Kunle to a small local gallery where he was preparing for an upcoming show. She saw a small, unused, and dusty space in the back. An idea began to form in her mind. A few days later, a news crew found them. A reporter, microphone in hand, thrust it toward Zahara. "Miss Adeyemi, your father, Chief Obasi Adeyemi, has disowned you publicly. He says, you have abandoned your legacy. What do you have to say?" Zahara looked directly into the camera, her gaze unwavering. She didn't speak. Instead, she slowly and deliberately pulled a large sheet of canvas from a stack. She took a paintbrush and a jar of black paint, and with steady hands, she began to draw. She painted the image of a cage, its bars made of gold. Then, with a single powerful stroke, she painted a break in the bars, a bird flying free. She put down the brush, looked once more into the camera, and with a silent nod, she walked away, a new life beginning on her own terms. The news report, with her silent, powerful response, went viral. It was the story of the billionaire's daughter who chose her freedom over her fortune. It resonated with millions, turning her act of defiance into a symbol of empowerment. Soon, donations and offers of collaboration began pouring in, not for the Adeyemi empire, but for the new art space Zahara and Kunle were building. She had left her father's world of immense wealth, but she had found something more valuable, her own voice, and a new life built on passion and purpose, not on a name or a legacy. She was no longer just the daughter of a rich man. She was an artist, a woman, and she was finally truly free. Zahara's vision was ambitious, and Kunle, with his boundless creativity and practical knowledge, was the perfect partner to bring it to life. They named their collective the Free Bird, a nod to the silent protest that had launched Zahara's new life. The dusty backroom of the gallery was transformed. Zahara used her innate sense of style to create a clean, modern space, while Kunle's artistic touch filled it with energy and color. Word of their project spread quickly. The quiet defiance of the billionaire's daughter had resonated deeply with many, particularly with young, struggling artists who felt their creativity was stifled by a society that valued wealth over passion. Donations began to trickle in, but more importantly, artists of all ages and backgrounds showed up, eager to be a part of their movement. Zahara and Kunle worked tirelessly, their partnership a beautiful, unspoken dance. He taught her the technicalities of painting, showing her how to blend colors and capture the light. She, in turn, used her business acumen, a skill she had absorbed by osmosis from her father, to manage their finances and plan exhibitions. They were a powerful team, their shared purpose building a bond that went far beyond their initial silent connection. The gallery became a hub of creativity and hope, a sanctuary where art was a conversation, a celebration of expression. The grand opening of the Free Bird was a resounding success. The small gallery overflowed with a vibrant mix of people, seasoned artists, young students, curious journalists, and even a few members of Lagos's high society, drawn by the controversy and the undeniable buzz surrounding the former billionaire's daughter. As Zahara and Kunle stood together, a quiet sense of triumph settled over them. They had built this, not with inherited wealth, but with shared vision and hard work. Zahara's father, Chief Adeyemi, made no contact, but his absence was more of a statement than any word he could have spoken. The silence was his way of acknowledging her defiance and their newfound independence. A journalist approached Zahara, a familiar microphone in hand. "Ms. Adeyemi, do you regret leaving the life of a rich man's daughter behind?" Zahara looked at the journalist, then at Kunle, whose hand gently brushed hers. She surveyed the room, the walls adorned with art, the faces of artists who had found a home in their collective. A soft, genuine smile spread across her face. She took a deep breath, and for the first time since that fateful wedding day, she spoke. "My father's life was a beautiful tapestry, but it was his. This," she said, gesturing to the vibrant space, "around them is mine, and I wouldn't trade it for all the gold in the world." The statement was simple, yet it resonated powerfully. It was the final chapter in her silent rebellion, a testament to her journey from a gilded cage to a life of purpose and true freedom.